get our full-blown acceleration here. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going over a Ram 1500 with the V6 powertrain. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah for giving me some time with this truck. Check out the inventory in the description down below. And then on a side note, I just released my car buying course to help you save time and money the next time you purchase a vehicle. It's super affordable. Link to that in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6 as paired to an e-torque system. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 305 horsepower and then 269 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of this Ram 1500 Bighorn. So you guys can see this one's finished in Delmonico red, definitely a beautiful paint color. We have our 1500 e-torque badge. So if it says 1500 e-torque, that means that truck has the V6 like this one. And then we've got the halogen lights just down below, fog lights down below that. And then you guys can see the chrome front grille, and then notice how it's partially blacked out. It's kind of like a Bighorn thing, and then the whole front bumper is chrome. No tow hooks on this particular truck. But yeah, that is the front end. And I guess since we're talking about powertrains and badges and stuff today, we have the other type of badge, which is the Hemi 5.7 liter badge. And we have the EcoDiesel badge down there. And I don't see any 5.7 liter Hemi e-torque badges. But you know, there's got to be one out. I mean, they have a lot of trucks. But yeah, those are the different badges, and that's the front end. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see the design on the wheels themselves. You know, pretty basic design, but it looks good. Here's the front suspension. You guys can see the Ram logo here on the side, and then this one does have the trailer tow mirrors. And then just like all new 1500s, we have the coil suspension in the back end, and then this one has the wheelhouse liner here in the rear as well. You can see the tires are pretty relatively aggressive for a street tire, so they do great in the snow. And stepping back quite a bit, oh, this Warlock's in the, or the single cab's in the way, but there's your full side view, kind of. So here is our key fob. We have our unlock, lock, and then the remote start, and we will pop down the tailgate, which is dampened. We have a payload capacity of 1,771 pounds, and you guys can see nothing too crazy happening here in the bed. We do have the cargo light there at the top, and lifting up the tailgate is actually very light. Now you guys can see here with the taillights, Bighorn has more basic taillights, got all the chrome badges here on the back end, and then you guys can see no parking sensor here in the bumper. Now as for the towing capacity, the V6 is quite a bit less than the V8. The V8 you can tow like 11,000 pounds with that roughly, whereas this can be more in like the 6,000 to 7,000 pound range depending on the gearing of the truck and the equipment and all that fun stuff. Here's the door panel in the rear. You guys can see the darker trim here at the top, and then the cloth trim down below, and then the padding with the stitching right there. And then here are the seats, again with all the gray cloth. I think it looks fantastic. And then the darker gray here off to the side. And then you can see here with the ice buckets, got the vents and a little bit of extra storage right there. And then we've got all the rubber floor mats, and yeah, that's all. So you go. Now here's the door panel at the front. You guys can see again with the darker trim, the cloth down below, and then the padding with the stitching down below that. All of our window controls right here with the mirror adjustments. And then again, like I said, this has the trailer mirrors, which the main mirror is heated. And then here are the seats, again with the gray cloth all down the center, and then the darker gray here off to the side. Power adjustments. And then you guys can see the pedal layout just down below. We've got our pedal adjustment here, parking brake, light control with the fog lights and the cargo light. Steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's where I'm looking for it to pop in. Now here is the steering wheel. You guys can see with the leather all around, and then you got the darker stitching here in the center with the gear limiter, cruise control, radio controls there on the back, controls for the center stack, voice command, phone controls as well. Then we have our turn signal windshield wiper stock, and well, that's all for the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster. You guys can see RPMs on the left side, on the right side you've got the speed, and then we do have the screen here in the center, which you can scroll through a few different menus to see different bits of info on the truck. Let's see what the fuel economy is, even though it's not going to be accurate. Well, 17.2 miles per gallon, but the truck only has 9 miles on the odometer, so you know, but there you go. Now here's the center infotainment system. Above it there is a 12-volt charger. Now as for the backup camera, you guys can see Got nice trajectory lines. You've got the zoom function too with the camera, and the lines do turn with the steering wheel. Now, moving on from that to the rest of the infotainment system, response time is very quick here. And notice the clicking. Kind of a nice little sound that it makes, but very user-friendly overall, and there you go. Analog controls here for the radio, climate control just down below it is a single zone climate. Got our tow haul mode with the stability control. And then you guys can see we've got the shifter for the 8-speed automatic. Got our 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel auto, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low, true neutral. And then auto stop start as well in that area. Sorry about my hand being so white and causing the camera to go dark. You can see we've got the USBs down there. And then you've got the storage space right here. Nice. This one does have the bench seat, so you've got cup holders here on the top, mini center console, and then this does pull up to be a seat. And then since it's a Bighorn, there's more storage underneath the seat as well. Then we have the dual glove box situation. Notice it says Bighorn on it. And other than that, power sliding rear window, darker colored headliner, and yeah. Now here's a window sticker on this Bighorn. You guys can freeze the frame if you want to read the standard equipment. I don't know if it's actually popping up on, it's not popping up on camera. Anyways, total MSRP with this particular one, $51,375. And let's take it out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors. Throughout the rest of the rear, and let's see how this V6 drives. So we are setting off here in the V6 Ram 1500, and well, let's talk about it. So first off, it's quiet, definitely quieter than the Hemi, and I actually just drove a Durango Hemi before this, funny enough. But yeah, definitely quieter than the Hemi. Suspension feels the same though. Sometimes with different powertrains, they have to, either loosen up the suspension a little bit or stiffen it up depending on the weight and everything. So sometimes you will get ride quality differences between cars with different powertrains. This, however, though, feels, doesn't feel any different. I will say that. Something I will say though is the fuel economy. Seems like this truck coasts pretty well, so that's definitely a big positive. Seat comfort with the Bighorn's great. You guys know that. It's definitely the best cloth seat in a truck right now in terms of comfort and everything. Some other manufacturers have more comfortable leather seats, but in terms of just a sheer cloth seat, this thing's great. Steering's very light as well, just like normal Ram 1500. So when you're just kind of driving around, this feels like any other 1500. You don't really feel a weight difference with this versus one with a Hemi. The only time you can actually perceive a difference in weight is when you go up to like the Tier X, but that Hellcat powertrain's very heavy. But yeah, this versus the Hemi feels the same in terms of that. And also in terms of like the low end acceleration, you also don't really notice a difference. So I guess if you do like a ton of around town driving, then the V6 definitely will feel great. You won't really notice the difference between this and the Hemi. I mean, if you full on floor it, you'll know. And right here, there is a perceivable difference in power, but for most everyday driving, you're not really going to notice it, which I think that in itself is a pretty big positive. And we'll get up and get our full-blown acceleration here. Oh yeah. So full acceleration, you really feel the deficit of the V6 compared to the Hemi in terms of the acceleration. So there's a significant difference with that. So take that for what it is, right? And that'll get into summing things up for this V6 powertrain. Should you get it or should you not? First off, like I said, at low speeds, not really that big of a difference. So I guess if you're living like a town that has really low speed limits, then V6 will be great. And then, once you're up to higher speeds, that's where you kind of feel the deficit, and highway passing power is not nearly as good as the Hemi. And then from a towing perspective, from what I've heard with owners, is the V6 doesn't compare to the Hemi. It tows, but it's Like when you go to a Hemi, it's like a whole new world opens up in terms of how good it is. So if you're towing a lot, it's probably not the powertrain for you. So who should buy this powertrain? I'd say if you want a runaround truck that you're just going to be, you know, throwing stuff in the bed and you're basically just gonna be driving around town most of the time, then that's where the V6 will get you a little bit better fuel economy than the Hemi and will feel a little bit better. But if you do a ton of highway miles, if you do a lot of towing, the Hemi is going to get better fuel economy, especially on the highway, and the passing power is going to be there. That's going to be significantly better. So there's some benefits and downsides. Overall, the V6 is a good powertrain. It's a good entry-level powertrain. But I mean, if I were to buy a truck, I do the Hemi, and that's why they order so many more Hemis than they do V6s. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn with the V6. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larch Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with the truck. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see you guys.